What's up, guys? I am fresh off buying my first 911 Turbo, and today I'm going to show you how we went from this to this.
That's no bueno.
In a matter of a week. If you haven't seen the first video, I'm going to put the link in the description, but to quickly recap, I bought this 2007 Porsche 911 Turbo off eBay for $50,000. It smokes horrendously and it's 3 different colors. The end. As you're watching, I need you to give me your opinion on what you think might be wrong with this thing, and at the end of the video, I'm going to lay out the couple different options I'm considering to get her back on the road. But that's enough talking. It is time to get to work. All right, so while we're doing our work for the day, I went ahead, when I had a chance, I kind of got a little bit of a head start. Took a couple things off the top of the engine, intakes, intercooler pipe, just to make it a little easier to drop this engine out. Now, the workday's over, and me and yours truly, Fernando, right behind the camera, are actually going to drain this oil and see how bad it really is. As some of you guys know, the previous owner said it was a head gasket. I didn't think it was a head gasket. I'm not quite that naive to believe I'm just going to get this car, fix a head gasket, and be good to go. I talked to a couple world-renowned Porsche builders this afternoon, AIM and Protomotive. They're both saying something more along the lines of piston, cylinder, that type of thing. But for now, you ready to drain the oil?
No.
Yeah, I'm kind of not either, but I guess we just got to rip it off like a Band-Aid and do it. Before we get into that, I want to show you a couple things I found on this, which aren't real good. One, that turbo manifold bolt, as you can see, that is very, very loose. As you can see up there between the turbo manifold and the cylinder head, it is nice and wet and juicy. Obviously, that's not great. Being that it is wet up there, I'm inclined to believe that we're not going to get lucky and it's not going to be just like a blown turbo. I came into this thinking maybe it has a blown turbo, but it definitely doesn't just have a blown turbo.
Yeah, I'm going with dime-sized chunks.
I'm going with the Subaru paint code Java Black Pearl. It's going to just be black with gold flakes all in. It's going to look phenomenal. Like you'd paint your car with it, you don't want to see it come out of your engine. That's what I'm going with.
It'll probably look like your front bumper. I mean, that's
yes,
close, just espresso.
Yes, Cocoa.
Yeah, front bumper. Cocoa Pearl.
Usually when my stuff's screwed up, it's like, you don't need to be checking the oil. It's done. So this is new for me.
Oh my.
No.
Yeah, that's
Coconut.
That's no bueno.
No.
That's way too thin too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I said drain the oil, I meant we're checking the coolant. That's what I meant here.
Oh my god. Yeah, that is not supposed to be that color.
You sure?
Oh my god.
I mean, at least initially
I
though,
don't see metal yet.
yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't look overly metallic.
Round one, let's check this filter.
I mean, it's got some,
Let's
but
pull, it's I guess we can't pull it out yet. There's not really.
Yeah, it's not really bad.
It looks awful, but we'll get it out and really put a light through it. It doesn't look metallic, so small win. I mean, I don't know. Can you call that a win? Like, is this a win?
Are there any chunks up there that you can see through the... too big to fit through the hole?
No, man.
No.
Like,
All right. She should be good just to seal her back up and let her rip then.
something tells me that's not the case. So one thing that both Protomotive and AIM said earlier, intermix is rare on these cars. It's not as common as you would think by reading online. They both said, are you sure it has intermix? And I said, no, I haven't seen it with my own eyes. I'm just going off what the previous owner told me. Well, problem solved. Like, it has intermix.
What is that, trend?
So no. This is the dry sump tank. Did you notice how not much came out of that?
Yes.
That's because just like the Z06, this has a tank that holds all the oil here.
Oh, interesting.
This is just the case. You notice this is the crankcase. There's no oil pan below it. So dry sump is great. But it just means you got to drain 2 places. Oh. I thought I was going to be able to actually kind of hold that back a little bit like the last one. Nah.
That looks really disgusting.
It all looks disgusting, man. But again, there's...
No metal shape.
We'll stick a magnet down in here to be sure. But I'm not picking up any metal out of this. I'm really not. This funnel's sinking just like my dreams of having a nice Porsche for cheap. This is depressing to look at, though, isn't it? Just like, come on. Finish up already. So the question is, where is this water coming from at this point? There was obviously some left in the block. You can't drain it all. When this car was crashed in the front, it didn't have radiators, didn't have any of the coolant lines on it. That was all replaced. Obviously, whatever is left found its way into my oil. Since this car's been put back together, it hasn't ran for more than 30 seconds. This cooling system has never saw pressure. It must be some kind of really major flaw because it's not like it can be a blown head gasket, and when it pressurizes, it's forcing its way into an oil passage. All right, next up, turbo oil drain tanks.
Nope.
Never fails. Ready to go fishing?
Nope.
Number 1 rule of working on cars. Something falls, it's going into the drain pan. My phone has fallen into the oil pan before.
Looks about the same.
Just as bad, right?
You know, these things like internally gated too. God, what
Yeah.
little wow. I thought this thing had big turbos on it. What big turbo has internal gates? Unbelievable. They look like they came factory on like a turbo Beetle or something like that.
Ready for more milk? Before we dump this out, I am going to go fishing in it a little bit and see if we can get any metal. Alright, so it's not much, but we have something. Let's go put it out on a paper towel and I'll show you. I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera, but you can see right there, this was a brand new fresh oil pan. So anything in there is from this car. Overall, not too bad. I mean, let's be honest, Fernando. We knew something was going to come out, right?
Of course.
Yeah, so could be worse. This stud just broke, so there's that. It's like a 15-year-old turbocharger. Just is what it is. The V-bands earlier, I was hit with an impact. Some of those broke. So I'm like, you know what? On this one, I won't use an impact. And it still broke. So. All right, so there's our 5-speed joint. One important note. It's not full of oil. As for the other one, I don't think it's gonna look like this, but we're not gonna find out till tomorrow morning. I've had about enough today. I gotta get home. Fernando's gotta get home. So we will be in here bright and early tomorrow to drop this thing out and to, I guess, tackle the bad side. So go ahead, put it in the comments. Let me know what we're gonna find tomorrow morning when we pull this turbo off, when we drop this manifold. And while you're at it, also put in the comments what you think the worst leak down number is gonna be. Are we going with like a full like 95% leak down, or is it going to be like, I don't know, a 60, a 40. What do you think, Fernando?
99%.
90, Jesus Christ. Okay. Either way, I'm excited to find out at this point, and I'm excited to get this engine out of here. I'll see you guys bright and early in the morning. Good morning, guys. We are back, ready to get cracking on the 911 turbo and get this engine out of here. These are absolutely just hand tight. It's disgusting. We'll start there. If you look at the left-hand side, it is nice, dry, clean, exactly what an exhaust port is supposed to look like. As you would expect, same deal with the headers themselves. Passenger side, nasty, wet. Due to not being sealed properly, this is where the oil is actually leaking out of the car. You could see it leaving a couple drops on the parking lot outside. So what can we gather from that? One, there is not one cylinder standing out. If it was 2 dry cylinders, 1 disgusting cylinder, well, there's our culprit. It seems like it's that entire right-hand bank of the engine, so infer what you will from that. And as expected, the manifold to turbo housing bolt threads are just completely jacked up, so that's going to explain why they were hand tight. That one just really nasty. This one actually looks halfway decent, and that one is not even circular. But anyway, there's nothing else we're going to learn from underneath. It's time to quit playing around, get to work, and get this engine out of here. As I'm just triple checking everything before we drop this engine out of here, I found a couple more coolant drain points. I guess this is just a byproduct of the intermixing. That is the first place I have seen it on this engine. I don't know what to interpret from this, but it is on the opposite side from the presumed bad side of the engine. You guys just watched me pop off the intercooler hose on the passenger side of the car. I figured they don't need to see me pop off both. I'll just film that one, I'll hit the other one off, and we'll move on to the next thing. Well, that was a mistake because I surprisingly got covered in oil. This is what just came out of this. Oh my God. All right, so a little less than a quart in my estimation came out. A couple thoughts here. One, not good. Two, it wasn't mixed with coolant. So the theory here for me, I suppose, is maybe it's a blown turbo unrelated to the rest of the issues this car has. But I guess at this point, I mean, whatever. What's it matter? What's one more blown up thing on this car to have to replace? Obviously, at this point, these intercoolers are going to need to be gone through and cleaned heavily. But anyway, we're almost there. I have to thank the engineers who actually built this car because this is an absolute dream to work on. We've all worked on cars where you go to pull an engine and it sucks. It's like the engineers gave no thought whatsoever to actually removing the engine, servicing it, anything. This thing, it's very clearly designed to just drop out the bottom. I'm going to get back to it. Hopefully that is the last thing we disconnect today that gives us a surprise oil shower. we're coming out of the tripod here. I'm excited to see this. You're gonna get the first person view. So if something pops, breaks, snaps, you can see me cussing real time up close. All right, 1 second. Go ahead and shake the car. Make sure it's not like super off balance or anything. No. Oh, feels good. If you take all this weight out of the back, I was a little worried that we're gonna be one of those, I guess, viral videos because this thing goes woo right off the front. But let's hope it doesn't. It feels pretty solid. So, all right, send her out. Real quick, let me apologize if this lighting sucks. After about 4 or 5 o'clock, the sun starts blazing in these windows and kind of screws everything up. But this was a super easy removal. One other thing I noticed that I cannot wait to get rid of is this big, dumb, stupid slave cylinder. You hear everybody talking about doing the GT2 conversion, and I can't wait to do that. It just seems like, I don't know, kind of a dumb design, over-engineered. Why bother? Just give me a traditional slave cylinder. Don't make me mess with all that power steering BS. I don't know. All right, so we have a little oil coming out of this intake tube. As for the turbo itself, there is barely any shaft play. It spins very freely. So I don't know what the deal is with that. So by all metrics, this seems like a good turbo, but obviously that's telling us otherwise. Whoa. Yeah, it's still really weird to me what happened on this side, being that I didn't expect it to be bad. I'm gonna have to go out on a limb and say there's some kind of seal in this that's just absolutely gone, destroyed. There we go, some more lovely liquid coming out.
Probably somebody's gonna buy it for parts or something.
Ooh, that one's juicy.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
And once again, the compressor wheel's in nice shape, no damage, spins freely, no shaft play. So I don't know what the deal is with the turbos. I think these are gonna be somebody else's problem. I'll sell them as cores. Somebody else wants to do a VGT setup. But for me, I'm simplifying. I'm gonna go non-VGT, probably with a Teal-Azona GT30, something like that. I don't know that I'm necessarily ready to see this. I hope you guys are. I mean, it's pretty soaked. It's pretty nasty. But the actual plug tip looks fine.
For what?
I'm gonna write down the actually, never mind, don't worry about it. Pretty much the same deal on the middle one. And the same for the front. So we're moving on to the driver's side here, which is the presumed good side of the motor. And I don't know what's leaking up here, but maybe one of you guys can tell me if this is a common leak area. I guess it's some kind of cam sensor right there, but it's been leaking for a while. It's pretty gnarly. It's a little moist, but kind of what a spark plug should look like. Again, a nice normal spark plug. Once again, nothing alarming there. All right, nothing real alarming with the plugs. I half expected to see one just absolutely toasted, smashed, tip broke off, something. No such luck. So now we move on to the last diagnostic test of this video, the leak down. And I have a feeling it's going to also be the worst diagnostic test of this video. I'll take the pressure down. All right, so we're not going to do this for everyone, but just in case you guys haven't seen a leak down before, air gets forced into the cylinder, roughly 100 pounds. You measure how much comes out. If it's anything under 10, it's great. If it's, 15, still eh. If it's anything higher, you need work. All right, pull it, Fernando. My arm's getting tired. So just to clarify, the reason you see me being a little odd about this and doing it in weird angles, aim was very, very specific. Do not let the engine turn backwards. Some engines, it doesn't matter on. Apparently these, it really matters on. It will jump time if you let it spin backwards. So I'm not going to take any chances. I'm going to do anything and everything I can do to stop this from spinning backwards.
I told you.
Wait, what did you tell me?
Well, I
exactly?
told you what happened if this laid down pretty good.
All right, so this just happened like 30 seconds ago. I haven't quite processed it yet. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Obviously, there could be and likely is some major issue with this thing, but this makes it a lot more confusing. One other thing that is very, very rare, but given that, it theoretically could be this oil cooler. As for what's next, I'm going to take the night and digest this. I'm going to send all of my findings to Joe at AIM. I told him I would get back with him with everything I found with this car, all the issues, the leak down. That way we could kind of form a better plan of how to move forward. All right, so we're back in the shop. Before we wrap this up, there was one remaining task we had to do on this engine, and that is pull the oil filter cap. If you can't tell by the fact that we have paper towels under there, it was really, really screwed up. The tool wouldn't work, a glove under there wouldn't work, no oil filter wrench would work, torching it wouldn't work. It looks like paper towels there finally did the tricks. Wait, no, I think it's just
No?
I thought it had cracked it.
It did.
It did?
It did crack it the first time. So. Paper towel.
Yeah, it sounded like it cracked it, but
I watched it though. It
okay,
moved.
it definitely did.
Yeah.
What's that say on the top of that right there?
25?
Yes, 25 Newton meters. Guys, don't Loctite it, hit it with an impact. This is ridiculous. This should not be an issue. We tried pretty much everything. We went through all these yesterday. We're in here torching it, chiseling it, trying to find all kinds of different tools. Jeremy walks up, grabs this thing out of here, and just spins it right off. So, good job, Jeremy.
True.
I mean, there's no visible metal in this engine anywhere. If it was going to be somewhere, it'd be in here. Even on the inside, there's just nothing. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and sit this back on there for the time being. Obviously, this is going to be replaced because, I mean, look at this thing now. If you've stuck around this long in the video, thank you so much. I hope you guys have enjoyed it thus far. As you guys know, if you watched the first video, I am so excited for this project. And judging by the response I got from the Porsche community, it seems like you guys are too, and that is awesome. So to everybody who gave me comments on the car, input, thoughts, feedback, good or bad, thank you so much. I told you guys I was gonna let you know what I'm thinking on the build, so let's get into it. Build scenario number one, and the one that I would greatly prefer, is that we find out that that engine is not that hurt. If that's the case when it opens up, we'll refresh it, do rods, pistons, do a simplified turbo setup, meaning getting rid of the VGTs. We'll replace them with some new technology, something not too big, something that still has great street manners, make 700 to 800 horsepower, and call it a day. Realistically, that's all I want out of that car. We have this car that's 1500 horsepower. I'm in the middle of the 1000 horsepower ZR1 build. I don't need another 4-digit horsepower car. Scenario number two is that the engine's actually pretty hurt, but fixable. I did just say I don't need another 4-digit horsepower car, and I do not. However, if the engine's really hurt and we need to be in there doing a lot of stuff anyway, then at that point it becomes a little more tolerable to just spend that little bit of extra money, put a slightly bigger turbo on it, and I guess aim for roughly 4 digits, 1000, 1100, something like that. That scenario is by far going to be the most expensive, so I kind of really don't want to do it, but I guess we'll see what happens. Scenario number three is one that if you would have asked me 2 months ago, it would be the reason I told you I wanted a 911 turbo. Not too long ago, I had posted looking for a 996 or 997 turbo roller so I could build an all-wheel drive, all-motor LS power car. That's something I've wanted to do for a very long time, and the thought has never really left my head. When it comes down to it, there is not a better opportunity than the one we have right here to actually do it and do it cost effectively. Hear me out. In the other unit, I have a full LS7 engine that does need some work, but I have the machine shop just waiting for me to tell them, hey, I'm bringing it by, and they will get cranking on it right away. Realistically, I can have a 600 horsepower naturally aspirated 7-liter LS for just the cost of parts and machine work. With that covered, we could sell the mods in the engine from the 911 turbo to cover the rest of the cost of LS swapping it. So when you look at it like that, it is a super budget option that will produce a really awesome car. However, after messing with this, I have the Turbo Porsche bug. I've never got to experience one. I've never owned one. I've never even driven one. And while quite literally every car that I buy, my go-to option if something goes wrong is it, let's LS swap it. I have finally found a car that has made me reconsider and actually want to rebuild the factory engine because I believe it is so good, and it would be a shame if I never got to experience one. So what it boils down to is simply, how bad is that engine? If the fix isn't too bad, we're going with scenario 1. If the engine is workable but needs a little more than I want to put into it, we'll probably go with scenario 2. And if the engine is completely trashed, if there is something catastrophically wrong in there, it's probably getting a V8. We're gonna go ahead and get back on the phone with AIM, discuss all the findings that we had in this video, see what they have to say about it, and go from there. When I spoke with him last, it seemed like I was catching them at a pretty good time, and it really didn't seem like we'd be sitting on an engine build for 6 months. And that's good, because when that happens, I make bad decisions. And by bad decisions, I mean go out and buy another $50,000 project car. That's exactly how we ended up with the Porsche, but we need to finish project cars, not buy more. But I think that's gonna do it for this video. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're excited about it, if you're enjoying it, if you're liking the videos, make sure you share, like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend, all that good stuff. You know I would greatly appreciate that. And with that said, I will see you guys next time.
Worm-driven clamps. Come on charge pipe. Let's get real.
To be clear, he's also building a boosted car. You see that red piece of junk up there that looks like it just crawled out of the scrapyard?
You look kind of frustrated.
No.
Are you sure?
I'm not frustrated. I'm happy. Just bad all around at this point. It's just bad. If this thing leaks down good, I'm giving every viewer $100. Well, I don't even know how to respond to that because obviously I can't do that. So I'm broke. I bought the cheapest Porsche possible. I'm broke. I can't give you guys any money. Sorry. I have a bigger funnel. Like this.
Yeah.
This is what he gives me.
That one was just broken.
How's that coming across? Damn, fucker. When he popped the hood when I bought this car, there was a mouse in it, straight looking at me. Ran back by the coolant tank. He might be in here now. I don't know. The positive here, it didn't come out full of oil. It wasn't big, huge chunks of oil. Dude, this fucking light.
Because when you hear Porsche, you think that you're gonna need some fancy tools and stuff like that.
No,
you know, like,
we only needed 2 tools. Right over his head. We're looking anywhere and everywhere.